So today we have another exciting expert on our show. His name is Mitch Carson. He is known by the media as the instant celebrity maker. Mitch, how you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me here today. I'm excited to share with you and your audience, your listeners, and give them an enriching experience, which I know they'll be able to take away after today's call.
Yes.
Irrefutable. Well, let's not even use you. Let's say Samuel Wu is a better martial artist than Mitch. He's younger, he's more handsome, he's Asian. I'm white, I'm old, and not as handsome as I once was. And we've got a karate, we both have martial arts schools that are competing. I'm teaching Jeet Kune Do, he's teaching Jeet Kune Do. The school is the exact same size. The difference is you walk into his school, and the only difference between his wall when you come in is he has a wall of shame and I have a wall of fame. My wall of fame is showing all of my pictures of the newspapers I was in frames. Newspapers, number one, I have the magazine that I just showed you. I show the cover of the front and I show my article. Then I show snapshots of me being on television, or I have a reel on the TV, what is called a continuous loop, showing my TV interviews. Wow. Who do you think is going to be able to charge more for Jeet Kune Do, him or me? Who gets to charge more and make more money for the same quality of lesson? I do.
Yes.
They'll pay it. They won't negotiate because people want to be associated with celebrities. It's so true. Or the perception of a celebrity. Am I a celebrity? No. But I have perception of one. Yeah. I'm not, on in movies, and you see me everywhere. I'm no Brad Pitt. I did a couple martial arts movies in the 80s, early 80s, a long time ago. But we'll talk about that in another call. Yeah, I was in the Ninja Turf was the name of the movie.
Wow.
I had a couple small roles in that. I was basically a stunt double. But I can't claim that I'm a celebrity martial artists like Jackie Chan or the others. Those are real people. But in my category, as a speaking strategist and trainer and developer of experts, I stand alone.
Yes.
I stand alone. I've taken the necessary steps to earn my multi-stripe black belt in publicity. Multi-stripe black belt. So what I do is I award people their black belts in publicity. The fast way. They can study for 4 to 5 years to earn their own black belt, albeit judo, kendo, jeet kune do, taekwondo, shotokan, whatever it is. But I created this fast track method where they're going to have all this media done in 4 to 5 days. And one of the keys to this is one thing getting on press in your home country, I take it to another level. I get them on press, covered with the press, outside of their home country. Because you know what happens? When you come back to Singapore and you've been covered in the media in KL, you've been covered in the media in Manila, Cebu, the United States, Australia, Dubai, where I've run multiple events, Egypt, Oman, Bahrain, the Bahamas. Any of those foreign places, whether it's a higher perception of the Singapore or not, is irrelevant. You're now internationally known. You were covered internationally. You were interviewed. You were so important that the international press was interested in you. So what happens when you take that international press and bring it home to the local press? You have become interesting, therefore they are interested in you. You've given yourself the necessary traction to get yourself in front of them. Because writers, newscasters, anchors need to find what is called the hook. What makes Sean so interesting versus Mr. Wu? He's been covered on TV in foreign countries. We've got to have this guy. We've never had a martial arts instructor who's been on TV in the Philippines. We've never had that. Singapore is this big. How does somebody get on TV there? It's pretty difficult. It's highly prestigious, but you need a hook, an anchor, an angle. And the angle is foreign press. It's foreign press. Even if you're covered in a small market, hypothetically, you're on TV in Johor Bahru, just across the border.
Yes.
Or in Penang, however you guys pronounce it.
Yes,
Penang.
Yes.
Penang. All right. Or KL, which I'm going to be running promo there for people, getting them on the radio. I have a radio station. I'll interview people. All of those proof mechanisms, those media assets will get you traction in your home country. And I guarantee you'll never make less money by showing media. I guarantee your income will never be less than it currently is. Will it be more? Most probably. I have to be careful with my words. I cannot guarantee more income. But I will talk about my clients who've used it and leveraged. They've never made less money. Most make more.
Yes.
So I'm saving myself from a lawsuit here. Most make more. Some, has anybody made less money. When your elevation goes up, your credibility increases, your recognition and perception in the marketplace increases and improves. No one will look at you and think less of you.
Yes.
How you leverage those assets is a separate call, and that's something I do. I conduct in my workshops and trainings for people to know how to then syndicate that content so you're seen everywhere. Podcasting is only one platform. Podcasts can be turned into videos.
Yeah.
You talked about that in the beginning. Podcasts can then be transcribed and written into articles.
Yes.
A press release can be written about it. There are various ways of extracting that core content and syndicating it, meaning spinning it out into multiple platforms so Sean gets seen everywhere.
Yes.
And post it on your Facebook, turn it into an Instagram video, blah, 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 or short 59-second Instagram videos, or on IGTV today, which is the longer, is the YouTube copycat.
Yeah, 10 minutes. So, for certain people that say, okay, I get what Mitch is about, and I love this, but you know what? I'm not an expert, or I don't dare to be an expert. Well, here's a philosophical question for you. Do you think, in your opinion, that you're living in this world, and if you just help one person at a time, there's a very slow process, right? But if you're able to reach out to many people at once, whether it's speaking on stage or whether it's getting this media coverage that you're talking about, you can help so much more people, infinitely more people than just one by one by one. And even if you don't have the message, as long as you have the intent to be helping people, to be serving people, then do you agree with me that then you will have a moral obligation to actually find your message and put it out there?
Well, there are givers and takers in this world. And if you want to be classified and feel the benefits, knowing that you are a giver, then you jump. You do it. Because those who hesitate make poor incomes. They don't achieve in life. Action takers are the ones that achieve. The people that take action. Napoleon Hill discovered this in his, the Think and Grow Rich book, that he was able to interview all the millionaires at the turn of the century. There are certain characteristics of winners, people that make change. The mediocre people make mediocre incomes and make a mediocre impact. They have 10 people at their funerals. People who impact others and give from their hearts and give one to many have hundreds of people at their funerals. That's your scorecard in life. It's your scorecard. How many people have you affected emotionally at a heart level such that they show up to celebrate you? If you're to make that scorecard, and this is a tough question, how many people would be there for you when you're sick? How many people will be there? How many people would show up at your funeral? Is it a little bit cryptic, that question? But I think it's a fair question because we avoid thinking about the inevitable, but it happens. I'm a bit older than probably some of the people on this call that are going to listen to this. It's a reality. It is a reality, and one that we must accept. Do you impact later? Later means you get old and you then are going to look back and think, I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
The time to take action is when you see an opportunity where you have the ability to affect somebody, the ability when you're capable of helping people, not when you're in a wheelchair and thinking about, oh, I should have done it when I was younger. No, the time is now, and one to many. If you want to learn to be a Jeet Kune Do practitioner, do it while you still can. You have the physical capabilities. The mental is one thing. The desire is one thing, and make your feet move. Movement creates results. May not be the exact results you wanted, but you do get a result. No action gets no reaction. Or there is a reaction. You get exactly what you had before, which is no result. So it's like, do you want the rickshaw or do you want the bullet train from Tokyo to Kyoto? The choice is yours. I mean, if you want to get to Johor Bahru, which is nice little jaunt, I mean, do you take a luxury bus or do you take the rickshaw? I haven't seen any rickshaws leaving Singapore lately. Maybe in the province in rural China, they might exist, or in rural Japan. I don't know. It's not a comfortable way to move from point A to point B. I like bullet trains, the fast method. And that's what I do for my speakers, authors, coaches, consultants, CEOs who want to be the number one person. They can go through the long process or the short version, the fast version, and it'll get figured out in the way. But they'll be able to get there faster, because the only thing about yesterday is true is it's over. You're never going to live yesterday. Tomorrow is tomorrow, but what you happen to put into play today will affect your tomorrow.
What's the number one misconception that people have when they're working with you in this business?
What's the number one misconception? That I'm going to do all the work for them. Once they go through all of this, they then believe that magically into play, that Hollywood is going to come knocking on their door and they're going to get on the number one talk show in the world or what have you. That they're going to be, you have to take the steps.
Yes.
One karate class, one Jeet Kune Do class doesn't give you the skills to go into the bar and pick 5 guys and say, hey, let's meet in the parking lot. You're going to get busted up.
Yes.
You got to do the work. You got to put the hours in, but I speed up the process by years. I would say 3 to 4 years of work is done in 5 days. So the misconception is that the income is going to come and fall from the sky. This is step one. You've taken a big step. Now you got to go out there, and there's a way, and I go through this in my trainings of how do you go get booked? How do you then turn this into cash? Turn the assets into cash. Turn the assets into cash. That's what we teach in the workshop. So the misconception is that magically money is going to be just dripped all around and they're going to shower in it. No, you're going to shower an opportunity, and you still have to keep the movement going.
Quick martial art question. So I understand that you are a practitioner yourself. What would you say is your main style?
I have a 6th degree in Taekwondo, so I would say that's my base system, one that I am most equipped. I am a striker by trade because I have 3 different black belts, all of which are in striking arts. So if someone gets me to the ground, I'm going to probably surrender. If they're a jiu-jitsu practitioner, I'm toast.
And I understand that you're also a follower of Bruce Lee as well, right?
Very much so. Yeah,
so
he
what
was
would
my
you say?
boyhood idol.
Wow. So what would you say is your number one inspiration or the number one lesson that you actually managed to absorb from the martial arts and you actually carried over when you got into the business world that got you the most results or the most fulfillment?
Well, I think you saw it in my presentation in Singapore. There were many, many great stories and subplots in the movie Enter the Dragon, which I've seen over 60 times. So I know the movie quite well. There's one particular scene at the beginning of the movie where they're on the boat going over to this small island where they're going to all be involved in a tournament.
Yeah.
an invitation-only tournament. And Bruce Lee taught us in this video the art of fighting without fighting. He labeled it where he didn't throw a kick or a punch, which he was very capable. There's a New Zealand man who challenged him to a fight on the boat. And Bruce used his brain to him without throwing one punch, one kick. And he got the man to get on a boat and said, we're going to go over to this island and fight. And then he lowered the line and the guy was off. And Bruce Lee beat him through the power of his brain. So that changed everything. There are people that use brute force in fighting and are straight strong men. I look at the strong men competition, and these are brute force men, pure strength. There's some technique to what they do, sure, but they are hulking, huge men that compete in that sport.
Yeah.
But they're not trained fighters. You or I would eat their lunch if we got into a fight with them because they're not trained for that.
Yeah.
They are not trained. Poke them in the eye, they'll cry.
Yeah.
You know, it's all the same with big people. My point is Bruce would have decimated one of these fellas. They're not trained in his style, but he would beat them through words. He would know how to calm them to where they wouldn't want to fight him and be in an unassuming posture. I would say, you know, he died very young, and I looked at him as a much more than a man who threw great kicks and punches. He was fantastic at that. He had great screen appeal, charisma, everything. He was handsome. He had all of that going for him. To be most remembered was his philosophy, his strategy of life. And he had many quotes that he embraced. I think it might have come from Taoism and Confucianism, which he incorporated into his being, old Chinese religions or philosophies.
Yes.
I think Taoism and Confucianism are philosophies, but they're also categorized as recognized religions. But he used that and some of the Sun Tzu strategies, who was known as the father of military warfare.
Yes.
Going back thousands of years. I don't know when Sun Tzu, but he embraced he studied all of it and created his own way of thinking and fighting and competing through using your mind, which is your best weapon.
The art of fighting.
Yeah,
without fighting.
Yeah, so I have a system called the art of selling without selling, using your brain, and it is essentially using the power of what other people say about you, using the media to then put me on a pedestal to where my authority, my credibility is unquestioned. How can you possibly argue when all these other experts that you look up to were saying these nice things about me, and they paid me money? I didn't pay them money. They paid me money. And they said these things about me. So what does that tell you?
You are the expert.
Correct. By sheer default. Am I? Absolutely. I've paid my dues. I've earned my black belt in what I've done. I've taken the punches and kicks. But if I go and beat my chest and say I'm great, I'm great, I'm great, that has a different outcome than all these other people who are high-level people say about me, and I've just sold you without selling you. I haven't had to ask for it. You're going to come to me and say, Mitch, I want to be your student. I want to attend your workshop and be able to be like those people. Sure. That's what sells me.
Yes. What other people say about you is infinitely more powerful than what you can ever say about yourself.
Correct. Much more. I don't have to brag to let other people brag about me. I don't have to say I'm a great fighter. You know, look at the tapes. That's how old it was. I'm saying tapes.
Tapes.
Videotape. Yeah, from a long time ago. It wasn't digital back then. You don't want to see my kicks today. They're not pretty. Not like they were when I was young, your age. I was crisp and, you know, looked good with my kicks. Today, I would feel pain. So I have to.
Wonderful, wonderful. Last question.
Yes,
so, if there are people living in Singapore and they just heard this podcast or they seen your material and they want to work with you, and maybe not just Singaporeans, maybe people all over the world, they want to get to know you better. They want to know your brand and find out how they can get to the next level in what they do by working with you. What's the best way they can take to find you?
Mitch at MitchCarson.com is my email. Mitch, M-I-T-C-H, at Mitch Carson, MITCHCARSON.com. They can email me, or they can reach out to you, and you can make the introduction. Either is possible. This is your
Wonderful.
platform,
Yes.
and then I would know where it came from. So those are two ways: through my email or go through you directly, Sean. Either is fine.
Wonderful. So this has been an incredibly enjoyable conversation. I learned so much in this hour just by speaking with you, talking about your understanding of what makes a person an expert, how do you differentiate yourself, and most importantly, your philosophy of the art of selling without selling.
Great. Well, yeah.
So,
thank you for the great time
incredible.
together, and I do appreciate it, Sean. Thank you for having me today.
Yes, I look forward to having you on the show again sometime in the future. Until then, it has been a great experience, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person very shortly, Mitch.
Great. Thanks, man.
Wonderful. Have a great day.